Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Hikmala Dewi Ananda. My registration number is A1M218115, and today I'm going to explain about assessment and grading. Next, the first method is cooperative learning. Cooperative learning is not only a powerful set of instructional strategies, it's a powerful approach to assessment. Authentic assessment. Authentic assessment must describe what attitude, skill, knowledge, how to apply the knowledge, in what ways they have or have not been able to apply learning gains, and so on. On that basis, the teacher can identify what material remedial activity must be carried out. Next is multidimensional assessment. Next is multidimensional assessment. There are three types of multidimensional assessment. Yang pertama, next multidimensional assessment. There are three types of Next, multidimensional assessment. There are two types of multidimensional assessment. The first is we simply have more windows into student learning when we add cooperative learning activity to our other classroom activities. We see student performance in a broader range of contexts with a broader range of content. Next is cooperative learning can be used to add the cooperative, social, and interpersonal dimension to just about any type of activity. Okay, next material is cooperative learning assessment. The first is the walkabout. The walkabout is also an important management tool. In the walkabout, we circulate from team to team, observe, study, working, and listening. Next, assessing for adjustment. So there are three problems. Next is assessing for adjustment. There are three types of assessing for adjustment. The first is if the problem we identify is a problem with the structure, we may have students practice the structure or remind them of steps. Next problem is if we find students that understand our instruction, we clarify the instruction or provide better modeling. And the last problem is we find students lack the academic skill, we teach skill again or reteach the skill in a different way. Next, targeting individual student. To find out the extent of a student knowledge, usually a teacher will design student by numbering student or by calling student with the characteristic they have. Next, stimulate sharing structure. The stimulate sharing structure allows us to read the entire class at once by asking them to answer a question written on a board, then asking them to show the board and see what percentage of students are correct. Next is targeting individual student, and next a student response structure. Next, how many versus how many at once, and the last is physical response structure. Next material is tips cooperative learning. The first is random sampling. To get a representative sample of the class, use the name selector in selector tools to randomly pick one student by tips is think time after you ask. This gives reflective student time to formulate their answer. Next tip is write time. It allows students to not only collect their thoughts, but to organize them and record them. Next, space 12. When arranging your team decks or furniture layout, make sure there is free and open access to every team from every angle. Next, establish a sense of security. If students give a wrong answer, one way we can validate the student is to state the question to which the Next, establish a sense of security. If students give a wrong answer, one way we can validate the student is to state this question to which the answer was correct. Next tip is when to correct. If we think several teams need to hear the correction, we give the quit signal and give the correction to whole class. If however we think only the team we are observing needs to correction, we make correction without interruption. Next tip is teachable moment. If we are listening into a team where a student makes an error and we think the correction might be helpful to class, we get the class attention and create a teachable moment. Simulationary assessment. Even we are narrowly focusing on one student, it is better to at the same time engage the rest of the class than to leave the class disengaged. Last tips is different instruction and multiple intelligence. Research on different instruction and multiple intelligence offer numerous suggestions for how to help our students success. Okay, next materi is cooperative learning and grading. Jadi cooperative learning and grading itu ada 12 macam. Yang pertama itu ada next materi is cooperative learning and grading. There are 12 type of cooperative learning and grading. Yang pertama itu ada group grades are not good for cooperative learning. Yang kedua ada group grades undermine motivation. Yang ketiga itu ada group grades are not good for certifying student. Yang keempat itu ada group grade are not good fit. Ada group grade are a poor method of communication. Yang keenam group grade are not fair. Yang ketujuh ada group grade convey the wrong. Yang ke-8 group grade violate individual accountability. Ke-9 ada group grade resistant to cooperative learning. Ke-10 group grade evaluate the wrong entity. Ke-11 ada group grade miss the mark, and the last is group grade could be challenged in court. Three is learning together, testing alone. There are two types of learning together, testing alone. The first is cooperative practice and learning structure. And the last is individual accountability, individual grades. I think that's enough from me. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.